What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Killmark Collectors. Today, I am super pumped because for the first time in this channel's history, I'm not talking Eve Echoes, but rather Mech Arena. Now, this is one of the games that I said that I was going to be trying out in the new year, and I've played for about a week now and have a couple of things that I want to pass along to you to help you get started and start to figure this game out, because there's a lot more strategy in it than there might be at first glance. So with that, let's undock, dive in. I don't know if the undocking still makes sense in this, but either way, let's just jump in and figure out what's going to happen. Now, starting with number 9, we are talking about controller layouts. And I didn't realize this at first, but you can actually go in the settings. If you click on your profile picture and then go down to the controllers, you can actually customize your layout to the device that you're using. This is really important because especially if you're playing on a larger device like an iPad, it can be really kind of awkward and unwieldy. I had some trouble myself trying to figure this out, and so being able to actually set those, you can change the size, you can change the location. I put mine a little bit more up so that it's easier for my thumbs to reach when I'm holding the iPad. You can also do this on your phone as well. Now, number 8 is that if you're on a team with like a Juggernaut or an Ares in particular, being able to actually use them and use their shields as a bit of a bullet sponge so that you have a little bit of extra time to breathe, to reload, to figure out what your next move is going to be, or just keep shooting. That is a very viable strategy. Now, the way that the game works, I'm going to talk about this in just a minute, is that the auto fire or the auto aim oftentimes will pick the closest target, and so even just backing up a little bit so that you are behind them will switch that target. They can take some of those hits. On the flip side of this is obviously you need to be a good teammate, and if you are in some of those heavier, tankier mechs, go in front. let some of your other teammates drop behind you. In this example, I was actually playing with another mech. You can see they died at first, but then there was another one that came up behind me. I purposely stepped in front of the fire coming in so that I would absorb some of those on my shields. That health will basically just reset when I get my ability back, so it's not a big deal, and they were able to keep fighting, and we were able to take down a couple of these mechs. Number 7 is I want you to ghost, and not in a like never call these guys back kind of way, because you know that just is mean and it's very hurtful. But rather be aware that the front of the mech is the most heavily armored. They will take the least amount of damage. You actually do get a bonus when you are shooting at the side and the back of an enemy mech. You'll know that this is the case that you're doing this damage because in the little damage indicators that are popping up and you're seeing those numbers on screen, they are actually turning red. They're getting a little bit bigger, and you'll notice that those numbers themselves are also bigger. So whenever you can, try to get around to the side or behind an enemy mech so that you can really get the most use out of your weapon. Number 6 is going to be to focus, at least at the start, with both of your weapons being the same range. Now, there are obviously times where you're going to want one long range and one short range, but as you are getting started, try to have both of your weapons firing at the same range, whether that's having both the same weapons, like 2 thermal lances, 2 autocannons, whatever it is, or even if you're going to switch it up a little bit and have maybe 1 thermal lance and 1 autocannon, but just try not to have like one, shot cannon that's got a very relatively short range and then like a long arm or something like that, at least until you get used to the game. You can find these stats by going into the weapons themselves, and you'll see the optimal range statistic. That will give you an idea of how far you really want to be engaging with a lot of these weapons. This will help you just build some of that muscle memory and get used to the game without trying to really worry about some of the specifics and the more advanced strategies that a lot of other players might be using. Number 5 is to focus your targets down and to make sure that you're actually finishing somebody off. As I mentioned earlier, the game will actually have your auto aim switch targets if something comes into range closer, and so you have to manually kind of drag that cursor or drag that crosshair back onto your original target to try to finish them off. The reason this is so important is because if you've been playing the game at all, you know that the ways that you win are either by capturing points, at least in control point, by capturing points, or by killing all the enemy mechs. And in Team Deathmatch, you obviously get points by killing the enemy mechs. So whether that mech has 1 HP left or full HP left, it still counts the same. So it's really important that you focus that target down, you kill it, even if you end up dying, because then at least you have taken 1 off the board for them while you've been taken off the board, as opposed to them just having 2 mechs on the board. That pairs very nicely with number 4, which is going to be that we want to make sure that if we are going down, that we can call targets. There's the little box in the bottom right-hand corner that actually allows you to highlight an enemy mech. If you do this, it shows up to your teammates, and if you are on one of those teammates, then you will see that box appear. That mech is then being tagged or targeted, whatever you want to call, for a focus fire. Try to focus those mechs down because they likely are either killing somebody that needs some help, or they might just be very close to dying themselves. Either way, by helping to do this, you can communicate a little bit more with your team and hopefully get a little bit better coordination and ultimately get more kills. Number 3 is going to be to watch the minimap and to understand how many mechs are left and where they are. Especially if you've just finished off a mech and you have, maybe 80% of your magazine left, but you see that there's only 3 mechs left and they're all on the opposite side of the map, you should go ahead and reload so that when you do get into a fight, you have a little bit more ammo, and you never know when that extra 20% in that mag is going to be the difference between life and death. The other aspect of this is that if you're playing a control point map, those control points are spawn points as well. So by understanding where you are on the map and where the enemy still has control points under their control or captured or whatever, you can understand where they're going to be coming from. This can help you focus and have your guns trained in the right direction to start with, and also kind of help you understand how you need to position yourself so that you don't get blasted from behind like I was talking about earlier. Our penultimate tip here is that we want to be able to corner, and what I mean by this is that you have the ability to fire each of your guns separately, and you can do this and get around a corner just enough with one gun to be able to continue shooting while the rest of your body and your other gun is still hidden. And the important thing is that when you do this, you are independently firing just that one gun and not both of them, so that you're not wasting ammo that's in the magazine of the other one. You can take this time to reload that other gun, or just sit and not take damage, because oftentimes with, again, the auto aim, it's going to aim for the middle of your mech, which will be behind that corner. This can again allow you just a little bit extra time to start getting damage, or to have the enemy just waste some of their shots, so that when they do start to reload, you can pop out and you still have a full fresh clip that you continue putting damage into them with. Now, before I jump into the final tip, please, if you have not already, like and subscribe if you're still with me. It really mean a lot, and I'd hopefully be able to bring you a little bit more value as you're watching some of these videos that I am planning to put out in the future. You can also hit the notification bell so that you make sure to get a notification, shocking in the way that works, when a new video is launched. And again, whether it's a live stream or just a video like this, hopefully you guys are entertained and you learn a little something that can help you in Mech Arena. Or Eve Echoes. One of the two. We'll figure it out. Either way, moving on to the last tip, and that is to watch your ammo and to really be careful that you aren't getting left with just completely both guns dry whenever you can. Now, the way that I've done this is that you can fire your guns independently, and if you do see that you're getting low, you can actually switch from firing both weapons to just firing one at a time, and then reload that first gun as you still have a couple of shots left in the second. The reason that this is so important, and the reason that it's so helpful, is that even if you have one gun that could still fire, it's more of a psychological thing for the enemy. If they see bullets coming in, they are more likely to juke and dodge, or maybe even run around a corner or something like that, so that they are not taking damage or they're not at risk. Whereas if they can see both of your guns just pointing straight up, they know that you're out of ammo, they can rush you in, they can rush in, and they can just keep applying full damage. This also goes to the idea earlier that I mentioned about keeping an eye on the minimap, so that if you do have the opportunity even to just reload one of your guns that's, 90%, 80%, whatever it is, you can go ahead and top that one off so that you do have just a couple of extra bullets, and ultimately you might be able to sneak out a kill with some of those 10-20% extra bullets that you might have. But either way, you want to make sure that as you're moving through the map that you are being very conscious of how much ammo you have left. It doesn't hurt you to reload even if you do have an almost full clip. So take advantage of the down moments, or take advantage of the time that you're in cover to be able to fully reload and be ready to face whatever mech comes down the hallway next. So that's it for today. Let me know down in the comments below if I missed anything or if there are any other tips that you guys think are very helpful as you start going. Obviously, this is all beyond the resource management aspect of the game. Might do some other stuff for that, but for now, like I said, just leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys think. I'm obviously very interested in trying to play around with this more and kind of learn the game as well. But hopefully these beginner tips kind of help you get started, start having some good success and climbing up those leaderboard ranks. As I mentioned earlier, be sure to like and subscribe if you found this helpful. I am going to be putting out more content and hopefully doing some live streams. So be sure to hit the notification bell as well so that you get notified when those are happening. And until next time, have a great time, blow some stuff up. I need a new catchphrase, so if you have any ideas, post something below. But for those of you that have been here before, fly safe. Have a good one, y'all.